Thank you, Stephanie. Really helps to hear all those things about a person. Well, I'm Sue, Stephanie's mom, Skip's wife, and Betty was my mother-in-law. And I agree, she was a woman who was full of passion and love, especially for her family. And that included me, thankfully, as her daughter-in-law. And as Stephanie mentioned, when she would come and stay with us in Libertyville, she just thoroughly delighted in being with us. It showed on everything in her face and what she would say. She was full of compliments from the moment that she would walk in the door of our house. How beautiful this is and how wonderful you've moved that over here. And she seemed to notice everything. And from a daughter-in-law's perspective, that was just everything to me. It made me feel so good and so accepted. She encouraged me always as a mom and as a wife, gave me some good advice at times. She would often tell us, John and I, what a wonderful job we were doing as parents, and that being home as a mom was the most important thing that I would ever do in my life, and encouraged me that it was good that I was staying home with my kids and not working, and I really needed that at the time. She would reflect back to me the beautiful traits that she saw in our kids, things that maybe I hadn't noticed, and it meant everything again. At dinner, she would often ask for the recipe. I remember once I served frozen pizza, and she asked for the recipe. She just was so, I never felt like I had to put on airs with her or a show as a daughter-in-law, never. I think of all the prayers that she prayed for me and for all the grandkids. I mean, how do you estimate the value of that? It was like a safety net, I felt like, under my feet that I cannot fully explain. But knowing that she was praying for me, for Stephanie, Michael, John, all the grandkids, just gave me a sense of security and hope and joy. And prayer is hard work. And she did it constantly. I believe those prayers are still being worked out today. Nothing surprised her or shocked her. I loved that about her. She would just immediately say, let's tell God about that. And right then we would pray. And I remember at first doing that was hard for me, to pray out loud with somebody, because I was not used to that. But she taught me that it was just talking to God. And she also taught me that by her words, how big God is, and that it was okay to ask big prayers because He is big and He is able. She taught me to pray scripture right back to God. That was something I had never thought of or done. And I remember often after praying that evening or the next day, we might see God at work in some way and like answering the prayer. And I would look at her and she would look at me. We'd be like, and no one knew that we had already prayed about that. And it was just so exciting. She never got over the goodness of God. Never got over the power of God and the faithfulness of God. She experienced that in her own life, and she wanted God to be real in my life. It's an amazing legacy, I think, that she has passed on to her daughter-in-law. Now, my mom and Betty were really good buddies, and she loved my mom, and my mom loved her. They often spent time together, especially at Christmas, because Betty would come in for quite a while. Christmas Eve was a big event in our family with a lot of extended family, but Christmas dinner was intimate. It was just our family, the 2 kids and the 2 moms, and it was wonderful. Some of my fondest memories are of me and the 2 moms. Everybody else would go away, but the 3 of us would be just sitting at the dinner table after dessert and talking. I remember one time we just pulled out all the Christmas letters that people wrote to us because so many of the people either my mom knew or Betty knew. And we laughed and talked about all the people. I enjoyed so much how much the two of them enjoyed each other. My mom passed away just a couple weeks ago. And it was actually at my mom's funeral that we found out that Betty had died. And the first thing that popped into my mind was that she wanted to be at my mom's funeral so bad that she decided she would just go up and be with the Lord so she could have a front row view with my mom, who was already up there waiting for her. There's a beautiful picture out there. I don't know if you saw it. It's in a frame. And it's just a picture of my mom and Betty holding their hands like this, with like in victory. Yay. And I just picture that is what the two of them are doing. They are full of joy in heaven before the Lord. Death has lost its sting, and they are alive together. So thank you, Mom. You have been a wonderful mom to me, a wonderful mother-in-law, a friend to me, a mentor, and a beautiful example. And we will always love you.